Uh-huh.
And I wanted to do just like PR for a sports team. And, I think like towards the end of my career, my coach asked me would I be interested in coaches? He
Uh-huh.
said, would I be interested in coaching? And I was just like, I thought about it. And I was like, my body hurt, right? I
Yeah.
had like my finger, my knee, my ankle. I had
Yeah.
so many like surgeries, so my body just hurt. And just like if I didn't get invited to combine, I was like, I ain't trying to do that NFL stuff. So, um, I played an all-star game after college, and that didn't go anywhere. So I got an opportunity to be a graduate assistant. Um, and I was a graduate assistant for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2 years, a year and a half. And then I ended up going to coach running backs and tight ends at Sam Houston. And, I ain't no running back. I ain't ever catch no passes. I played center. I played offensive line. But it was just an opportunity for me to, get my own room and actually gain experience coaching. And then from there, I went to East Carolina. My mentor, Ruff McNeil, uh, gave me an opportunity. Not many people give you a chance when you don't have any experience, especially any experience coaching O line and not having your own room. So, but he knew me. He knew me because he was our defense coordinator at Texas Tech, and he knew me. So, um, yeah, just I owe him everything. I tell him that all the time. Like I wouldn't be the man I am today without him.
Yes,
Just
sir.
somebody that believed in you. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, I went. I kind of felt like I had like there was not much room for me to grow at East Carolina anymore. I mean, we obviously gotten back on track, and it's just uh, I just didn't want to get stuck there. So,
Hmm.
Lincoln was leaving. Lincoln left on a Monday. I left on a Friday. He went to Oklahoma. I went to Cal Berkeley. I'd interviewed at this like coaching convention deal. And yeah, so I just felt like it was an opportunity to be on a bigger stage. I think, for me, it was just always trying to be on the biggest stage and show like like I belong, and it just motivated me to work harder, all those things. So went there, went to Cal. We had some success. We had Jerry Goff there. We were always like top 10 offensively. We were just terrible on defense, but we ended up getting fired and went back to my alma mater, Texas Tech, worked with Cliff. And Cliff was awesome. Cliff's been the head coach at the Cardinals. Cliff's an OC at the Commanders. He works for the Rams
Yeah.
right now. So just like learning, trying to just continuously evolve. I mean, and ultimately needed a job too, but it was important to me just because it was, the place that had given me so much. You know what I mean? And
Yes, sir.
leaving there, I went to Damn. Well, I went to North Carolina for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Not a lot of people know that. Went to North
Really.
Carolina. Yeah, we got fired from Texas Tech. I went to North Carolina for about 2 weeks with Mac Brown, that whole staff. And I was kind of the young guy on staff, didn't know anybody there. Had an opportunity to go back to Houston. They probably they threw a little money in my face. And
Yeah.
my family's from Texas and gave me like a co-OC title. So, and I knew the head coach. The the head coach was the receiver. The head coach was the receivers coach when I played at Texas Tech. So I knew him. I wouldn't necessarily consider him family, but I felt like he would do right by me. So I took that job. Went to Houston. Um, and I was there 5 years and got let go. I got let go individually for whatever reason. And then, you know, I had a year on my contract, was just going to try to navigate through and figure out life. And I got an opportunity to come coach here at Missouri, their O line coach. I think, big thing is just in everything, just networking, being a good person, right? The receiver
Yeah.
coach here was our receivers coach that worked at Cal. So
Mm.
he was like, "Hey, I know B Jones' situation, and like we should hire him." They hired me here, and that's really how I got here to Missouri. But I've been here 3 years, going on 4, and I mean, we've had a lot of success.
Yes,
I
sir.
think we won like 29 games in 3 years, and I've had some kids get drafted each year. So I mean, it's been one of those places that I've enjoyed.
Okay, okay. Thank you for telling me your background. So basically, I know you said that you previously played football. How did your basically how does your coaching style relate to your playing style of when you play football?
Well, I consider myself like a player's coach, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna ask them to do anything that I haven't done myself. I think the difference between me is like I have like a personal connection with them. I
Yes, sir.
think here today, like if you don't have if you don't like care about them, you can't coach them hard. And at the end of the day, I spend more time. I've got two daughters. I spend more time with my players than I do my own children. So I'm on them constantly, and just the standard of how they carry themselves is like extremely important to me. You know what I mean? Like
Yes, sir.
I said it this morning. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything. I say that constantly. So you can't be an average student and try to be an All American in football. And if you got C's, like I hate C's, like in
Yes,
grades, right? That's just you being average. That's you being lazy. And don't pick and choose what you want to compete at. Like the people that are like truly successful in life, like everything's important. If there's a winner and losers, everything's important. So that's kind of my mindset, but I also like pour into those guys. I'm with them all the time. Like we're gonna do drills tomorrow at 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? 9 o'clock on a
sir.
Saturday, which is optional. But they get and they understand like, hey, you got somebody that truly believes in you. I'm not gonna let him down. They know I'm not gonna let them down. I'm gonna pour into them, and that's really just kind of my philosophy as far as coaching.
Yes, sir. So now we're gonna dive more into like your day to day roles. What does a typical day to day look like during season or off season? What is a typical day for you?
Ooh. Man, it's a lot of hours.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Sunday, I try to get there by 8. I watch church. I try to grade the tape. I watch church while I grade the tape so I don't get too erratic and get too upset if it's some bad stuff. And
Yeah.
then I just dive into my next opponent. So, I mean, and I usually leave there about 10 on Sundays.
Mhm.
Mondays is like my heavy like work day. I try to get there. I need to be sitting at my desk 6:15. I stay till 10:30, 11. You know what I mean? But that's like that's the game plan, and that's the blitz tape. That's the run game. That's just like constant meetings. I meet with really the like travel squad, like and I meet with them probably in the afternoon, and I meet with the centers. I mean, it's so much on Monday. Tuesday's like our toughness Tuesday. We work a lot.
Yes, sir.
Same deal. I try to get there about 6, and I probably leave 9:30, 10. But you're just constantly trying to find like a competitive advantage, a way to win, and all those things. And Wednesday's a little bit laid back. Wednesdays for us, it's called Winning Wednesday. It's more situational football. It's more like third downs, like, red zone goal line. But the cool thing about that is like our head coach, obviously, we're a pretty big faith driven place. We do Bible study at
Mhm.
his house at like 7. So it's kind of, you can break it up and I don't have to come back to work then. And so and then Thursday is thorough Thursday, like just going through the game plan. Hey, they do this particular blitz in this situation. They do this movement on this run play. Like just really going through the ins and outs. And then Friday. I mean, we do Fast Friday, which is pretty light for the offensive line. I do give them a test. And then we end up, basically going through the game plan again. We travel. If we play on the road, we go and travel and do all those things and have meetings, have watch the blitz tape, all those things. And then Saturday, if you ain't got a bad Saturday with the amount of stuff that we do, you don't
You just
deserve
ain't
to
gonna have
win.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like those types of deals, but there's a lot more like in between that we do. But it's once again, it's just like the kids seeing how invested I am in them and like spending time with them and like, just pouring into them. And it ain't just all football. I actually, care about their academics. I care about, so a lot of kids have stuff going on back home. So I don't know. It's important to me, which allows them to, really gives me an opportunity to,
Relate to them
coach
and be
them,
like a father
yeah,
figure.
relate and coach them hard if I need to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what goes
Yeah,
into preparing your O line every week for a different opponent?
man, I think the reason I get there on Sunday so early so I can put that game behind us, and we actually have like a family dinner like Sundays at 6. The O line, we go watch the game just so we can get past it, but just week in, week out, just there's something different. There's something specific this team does. There's something unique this team does. But so after I get done with that, about 8 o'clock, not 8, I probably finish watching our game, write notes, things we need to work on technique wise. Probably about 10, I just start watching the next opponent's game. So I try to watch 4 or 5 games. I just watch them in succession, like just the defense. So I can see like how the defensive coordinator calls games and like, hey, he likes to run this blitz here. Hey, he's not afraid to do this movement, all those things. And I just kind of jot down notes. So if it's something that's like unique, like we'll rep it, we'll work it, right? Because I
Mhm.
don't my biggest thing as a coach is I want them to be prepared. As you go into a game, like your confidence comes from your preparation. Well, if I didn't say, hey, they do this on, first downs, like then I'm doing them a disservice. So I just got to make sure all my dots, my P's and Q's, and like dot all my I's and all that stuff. So but each week it's unique. Playing in this conference, I think, the SEC. I mean, we play Alabama, we play Georgia, we're going to play Texas next year.
The
Like
hardest conference in football.
you have to be like locked in, week out, and to give yourself a chance. And it's really, to me, it's like 4 or 5 plays that determine whether you win or lose. And I would hate for my guys, my group, not to make those plays when they present themselves. So stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now more into like the recruiting side of things. How much time do you spend on recruiting compared to player development?
Man, obviously with the transfer portal and all that stuff, like you know, we we have like a schedule as coaches, and we probably devote maybe an hour or two a game, an hour or two a day just in recruiting.
Yes, sir.
I've got 2 phones for a specific reason, just so I can separate between the two. But we constantly send out graphics. I'm constantly trying to send information to these kids. But once again, like my philosophy is just being a player's coach. I want to get to know him. I want to see if there's any red flags. Like, hey, he's kind of lazy. Hey, he treats the lunch lady bad. He's had this incident, things of that nature. But
Yeah.
ultimately, the better, and I probably figured that more so out here than anywhere. The better players that I get, the better coach I am. So I really do pour into it. I really do. I constantly try to invade recruits space. I hit them on Twitter. I hit them. I text them. I just call them. I FaceTime them. Like, you just got to constantly be on that. And I'm signing 4 kids this year. I'm like actively recruiting 10 to 12. Now I have assistants which help me, but ultimately it's my decision and the head coaches. So it's that, and then once you get them there, it's just like, hey, what's important to them. If it's just NIL, you know, and we don't want to pay that price because
Yeah.
lineman, you're not playing early. You're just not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. So a lot of these places they'll give a 5-star tackle $1 million. Well, you're not going to get your return. So it's that kind of that fine line right now
Like
that
the
we kind
Colorado
of navigate
situation.
through. Yeah. So,
Most
but
definitely.
to me, it's like the developmental component. Like, we take grad transfer, or we take transfer portal guys, and just where they are and like how much better they improve. Like I have like these stats like PFF. We took a kid from Wake Forest last year. I mean, he was terrible. He was first team All SEC. You know what I'm saying? We took Caden, who was a freshman All American in Oklahoma. Like, he's gotten better and better each year,
Yeah.
just based on the amount of stuff that we do, the amount of time that I spend with him. So it's just like having like a plan. Like, that's what I worked on after today. Like, I really truly worked on like a plan for next week, things that we need to improve on. And the kids buy in because they know I care. The kids buy in because they know, like, damn, this dude's up here all the time. He's working just as hard as we are. He's equally invested. So they do everything I say. And it's just been good. It's been good here. But like I said, like, Keegan will get drafted this year, probably go second or third. If
Mhm.
Caden would have came out, I mean, he's going to be a first round pick next year. Had a first round pick last year. I mean, it's just, but they work. And you get what
Yes,
you
sir.
work for. So that's what I just continuously instill in them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, how do you evaluate and improve individual players' performances as far as like improvement throughout the season? Say, if a guy starts off the season first 3 weeks, he allows 8 sacks. I'm just
Oh
speaking
yeah, they
hypothetically.
allowed race sacks. He got it. He
I'm
got to
just
sit down. Yeah,
I'm just speaking
hypothetical. Yeah, I'm
hypothetically,
with
but
you.
like,
Yeah,
how,
he
how,
got to
how do you
sit down.
improve him throughout the season?
Well, yeah, I think like for me, it's like figuring out how they learn. I got to figure out one how they learn, but I have to figure out also like what motivates them, what pushes their buttons. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, um, you know, I think right now on paper we do drills about 4 times a week, right? As an offensive line, I mean, my door's always open. I've got two assistants. Once again, going back to figuring out how they learn. Some people don't like asking questions in a big setting. So if you need to have one-on-one meetings with people, we do that. If they need to get on the board more, we do that. If we need to do, um, you know, anything from a technical standpoint, like individually, we'll do that. But I mean, ultimately, it's really all about them improving. But we do that like right now. We don't
Mhm.
in the season. If you ain't got it in the season, like and like our daily drills are consistent. They're the same. We call them EDDs, like everyday drills. And they directly show up on Saturdays, right? So you really grow to master them as long as you don't become like mundane and think like, oh, I'm better than this. Like, once again, I said that earlier, you get what you put into it. So
Yes, sir.
you should improve continuously as the season goes on. And if you watch teams that do get better, that's because they work on their fundamentals. And like, I don't try to deviate and try to be cute. I don't try to do like stuff that I don't necessarily believe in. And I think as the season goes on, you just get better and better because of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now we're switching topics. We talked about basically your story, your journey from coming up to becoming a coach. Now let's talk about more of the mindset it takes to be a coach. What skills do you think it takes for someone to be a successful coach like you at your level?
Um, I think like you just got to be intrinsically motivated. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like people trying to micromanage me. Like, ultimately, I hate losing. Like, in everything that I do, I hate losing. Like, I mean, hell, I played Madden last night. I lost. I was so mad it just ruined my whole night. Like, but you can't, like I said, and I try to say that my players, you can't pick and choose what you want to be good at. If there's a winner and a loser, you want to compete. So, I'm extremely hard on myself. Um, and at O line, like, nobody blames the quarterback. Nobody's gonna blame the receivers or the running back. It always is the O line's fault. So I've just over the years, like, I've grown tough skin, but all it does is just motivate me to work harder. If we lose, I probably get up, 5:45, whatever. I probably get up like 10 minutes earlier because I feel like I need to just work harder. So it's like it's that, but you just gotta love it. And
Yeah.
same with myself and the players. I was like, do you love the game or do you love what the game brings you? You know, with the climate of college football, the money, like all that stuff, like you can get so lost in that. Like I truly love football. Like,
Yes,
like
sir.
I don't have no hobbies. Like I said, I'm gonna play Madden. I'm gonna go watch. Yeah, I was watching the damn
Anything you do is gonna
2018.
revolve
Yeah, I was
around
watching
football.
2018 Ravens versus the Browns before I left. So I mean, it's just stuff like that. Like you love it or you don't, and it's
Yeah.
just afforded me so much, and like it's let me meet so many people. So I just pour into it, and I don't have any other outlets.
Obviously.
You know, even
Yeah.
like when I got fired at Houston, I was like, I ain't selling it. I can't sell insurance. You want me to be a realtor? Like, no, that's not like my calling either. So uh I just work at it, but I think the other thing is just constantly evolving and then it's constantly trying to like improve. You know, like don't get so set in your ways. Like we run outside zone good here, but like I'm constantly trying to figure out ways to help improve it and not having an ego not thinking it's fuck I hung the moon, like stuff like that. So that's what helps me, I think, day to day, just continuously try to improve as a coach and like listen to people, whether you
Yes, sir.
take it or not. Like, I mean, like we have a lot of great coaches on our staff and like just really figuring out what works for you. As a coach, what do you feel comfortable coaching? But then just devising a plan to maximize that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So earlier I heard I remember you mentioned that you had got fired from Houston.
Yeah.
And when you got fired from Houston, the Missouri coach, the wide receiver coach now, you work with him at Cal, correct?
Yep. Yep.
How
Jacob Taylor.
how important is it to network being in your field?
Man, I think it's really important just because you know um it just helps you in the end, you know, and it ultimately comes down to just being a good person. You know, there's a lot of people that are just like I know this you're recording this, so I ain't gonna say what I really want, but like there's a lot of people that don't treat people well. You
Yeah,
know, for example, I'll give you an example. You know this one, John David Baker,
yeah, yeah.
who was ECU's
Now
OC
Ole
last year.
Miss.
I met John David Baker at a clinic in San Angelo, Texas, like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Me and him
Wow,
played shuffleboard together.
wow.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And to this day, I still talk to him. So, and John David Baker at that time was like a student coach, just barely getting in it. So, just understanding like life is like full circle, and
Mhm.
you can be up like to the T, and
Yeah,
then it all comes crumbling down, and you just never know who you need. So, however,
yeah,
I can ever help people. You know, like there's guys now that want me to like write them letters for like the NFL, you know, minority like coaching deal. Like I'm eventually gonna do it, you know, because like I would want somebody to do that for me. You know what I'm saying? And I would want somebody to vouch for me. But it's network and it's never about what you know, it's about who you know. How can you get in those rooms? How can you get, you know, connected to that head coach? Like I said, like I didn't know the head coach here.
yes,
You know, I didn't know Mac Brown. But Lincoln Riley called for me, and that's how I got that job at
wow.
UNC when I went. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that. But just be a good person, and good things happen for you. And don't think you're too big to help people
Yes,
because
sir.
at some point you're gonna need that same help. You're gonna need that same grace, in return.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So my
Yeah.
last question on as far as mindset and coaching, what do you think separates an average coach from a great coach?
And I think it's how your players respond to you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I'm being honest, and I love these kids. Like they'll run through a wall. I mean, they'll rob a bank. Uh, I mean, you're recording this, you can get it out, but like I was just joking with my right guard last year. You know, there's a
Hmm.
gun show here and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
like, hey, I'm in some trouble. Let me see your AR. And I was just laughing, but he's like, man, all right, I'll bring it to you. Like stuff like that. Like people
Yeah.
gotta understand, like, um, I don't know, just that you love them. If they know
Yes,
you
sir.
love them just like your kids, hell, just like you with your mama, like you'll do anything in the world for them. But it's like for life, you know. Like
Yes.
I had a kid that you know, he transferred here from Houston when I got fired. He's like a really good player, and all you know, all
Hmm.
conference in that league, and transferred here. Ended up starting for 2 years. Well, he just had a baby. Yeah, well,
Hmm.
guess who went and saw the baby when I went back to Houston? You know what I'm saying? But it's not like a 4 or 5 year deal. It's like this is life.
For
Like I
life.
still talk to my damn players from ECU. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And just once again, it goes back to just being genuine, being a good person. Why I'm with you, my biggest thing is for you to graduate. Like the NFL, that's not a given, but you graduate and you being a good husband, you being a good father, like that means the world to me. So I get a lot of wedding invitations. I get a lot of baby shower stuff. You know what I mean? So like
Yes, sir.
that's what's rewarding to me in this
Yes,
whole
sir.
process. And that's what I think makes good coaches and like average one. The coaches that are really truly transactional, like, hey, I got you 4 years, we're paying you this, or what can I get out of you, but not like care about them, not like mold them. Like that don't
It's
work.
more like
That
just a
doesn't work for me.
business.
And I really got that from Ruff. Like Ruff didn't even coach me.
Hmm.
Um, but he cares about me. And if I text him right now, he's gonna tell you, I love you, boy. And that's how I ain't played 20 years. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I know it's real.
Yes, sir.
So stuff like that. And that's who I really model myself after as Coach McNeil. And obviously he had a lot of success at ECU. And yeah, he's really my guy that I look up to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So I got a few more questions for you. You still have time? You good
Yeah,
on
yeah,
time?
I'm fair.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fair.
All right. So my next question is, how do you handle pressure during maybe like a rough season, or like you're in a losing streak, or even when you're facing against a big opponent, maybe like a school like Alabama or Georgia? How do you handle that pressure?
I think, when we do lose, like I said, I work. I feel like my players are a reflection of me, and like I didn't do a good enough job preparing them. Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, like that's just how twisted my mind is. But like I
Yes, sir.
said, I just get up earlier, I work harder, I stay later. And
Yes,
I
sir.
think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So if I don't like the result from the previous week, we lost, and I need to work harder. And that's just kind of my mindset. A little twisted, but that's just who I am. And, I think the amount of stuff that we do right now, like that's preparing you to win in the fall. Like I was
Yes.
texting our left tackle, we had 6 a.m. workouts this morning. I probably texted him like 5:30, 5:45. Like what you're doing now is going to directly result the outcome in fall. So you get what you work for, right? That's important to me, and like I hold myself to that same standard too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this is a question that a lot of people. It's a controversial question. A lot of people want to know. Now that I get to ask someone that's actually in the industry, um, how do you handle, you would say, like the transfer portal or the NIL and players coming and going and players not really committed to your program? How do you handle that?
Well, I think you gotta figure out who they are. Every transfer portal kid, for the most part, other than a handful that have come here, they can see how if you buy into like my process, my plan, how it will develop you, you'll have an opportunity to play on Sundays. My prime example would be I've got two. My right tackle last year, he started at Wake Forest the year before, very mid, very average. He came here, he did the work, he did the 4 times a week, didn't ask questions. He was first team all SEC, and he's got like three or four, like 30 visits for the NFL draft. So he's about to get drafted. You know what I'm saying? The year before, we took a left tackle from SMU. Um, they ran him out of there, bought into the plan, bought into like my coaching, and he ended up getting drafted like, seventh round to the Patriots. But like it's really your buy-in, it's really your level of commitment that is really gonna dictate your future. I mean, you can come in here and BS and you're gonna get beat out. It's gonna go by the wayside. We took two kids from Mississippi State this past year, and they're working hard. And I mean, their future's bright. Just because, I mean, at the end of it all, you get what you work for. The NIL deal, I'm not really worried about them getting paid. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think it's deserving. I think ultimately we lose sight of what's really important, and that's getting a free education.
Yeah.
But in my room, like they give me a hard time about how much money I make. And, we jokingly talk about it, but in that room, it's like a dictatorship. You're going to do exactly what I want you to do. I'm going to hold you to this standard. I'm going to hold you accountable. You're going to still make good grades in school. You're going to be on time. You're not going to be on list. Like, none of that stuff, like, matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can get y'all's bread. I'm all for that. But, like, when you're in this room and you're a reflection of me and you're basically my child while you're here, they know like I don't play about that, and I punish the hell out of them. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
you're on the list, you're gonna roll. I mean, if you're on the list, I mean, that's not who I am. Like as a father, as a coach, and once again, I can't pick and choose. Just be well rounded, and that's what I really instill. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What are a few misconceptions that you think people have about coaching college football?
Um, I would say that it's easy. It's not. It's very demanding.
Mhm.
It's very time consuming. Like my
Mhm.
day, like where I can really like breathe is like Thursday. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So yeah, and I don't sleep a lot. You're constantly, know,
Traveling, of course.
yeah, you're stressing. You're like trying to figure out, well, how can we win? When you would play. I mean, in this conference, every team's got a good defensive front. Everybody's got a good second team defensive line. So your technique's got to be up to par, and it's just the demands. But man, there's no better feeling in the world. You know what I mean? Than going in that locker room after you win on a Saturday. So it's rewarding. It's justified. The sacrifice, the 16-hour days. When you lose, shit, I hate losers. Boy, I hate losers. I cannot stand. And I hate that feeling. And like I just, personally, I just felt like I didn't do enough. Whether, the ball bounced my way or not, or, we gave up the game on defense, on special teams. Like I feel like, I didn't do a good enough job preparing my offensive line. Now I've done this like this would be like year 18. So I've constantly had to like recreate that stuff in myself just to, have a why, have a purpose, continue to stay driven. I ultimately want to be the best. And, it's just a constant battle and process that I have within myself that has allowed me to have the success that I have had thus far.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now we're going to talk about leadership. Leadership in sports is one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
Um, what does leadership mean to you as a coach?
you know, like I said, I think the leadership is your players are like a direct reflection of you.
Yes, sir.
So I can't ask them to, do more than what's expected if I'm not doing that myself.
Yes, sir.
Like we had 6 a.m. workouts this morning, and I was the first coach there. I was probably there like 5:40, 5:25, 5:30. I sit at my desk. I was watching spring cut up. So the whole deal that I preach to them, like they know it, they see it, they like feel it. Like, hey, Coach Jones is up here. Coach Jones is doing this. Like Coach Jones is this. So I think I'm more of a, kind of an example, like setting leader. But they've also got to see that in like my personal life and my work ethic and like how I carry myself, how I am as a father and stuff like that. So I can't, you know, you can't say one thing and live a completely different life. Now they know me, and I think that's the other thing is just like being vulnerable with them. Like I've experienced what they've gone through, and that's my job as a coach. It's just like I'm more their tour guide, right? I'm not gonna let you make the same mistakes I made. And I would be doing you a disservice if I did. If you're going down the wrong path, I'm gonna address that, check that, and um, like I said, you're a direct reflection of me, just like I would hold my kids to that same standard. My two daughters, which they know that because I rip my daughter's ass all the time in front of them, so they know. And it's all love. If I didn't
Yeah,
care, if I don't talk to you, then it's about to go south.
yeah, yeah. That's
But that's
understandable.
that's leadership to me. It's
Yes,
setting
sir.
the setting the tone, obtaining the standard, um, and just them seeing that, like, hey, he ain't saying nothing, he ain't done, that's big to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know in your coaching career you came across many different players. How do you deal with each player's own personality differently? You know, everybody has different personalities, so how do you deal
Yeah.
with each player?
I think like in the whole recruiting process, you kind of figure out people's stories. You
Yeah.
kind of figure out their stories. You kind of figure out what makes them tick. You really got to figure out their why.
Yes, sir.
What motivates them, and you got to see if they truly love football. Like I said, you love the game. Do you truly love the game, or you just love what the game brings you?
Yeah.
And like that's what like I have to figure that out. And each kids you have to coach them differently within the standard of what you're expecting and demanding from them. But the recruiting process is so big. Like I've dropped kids because I'm like, man, that he ain't it. I can tell that ain't gonna work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And yeah, but once you do get them, they're yours, and you have to put your spin on them. From even a football standpoint, I use the whole high school. Like when they used to draft like Trace McGrady and KG and all those guys, like where would this kid be in 2 or 3 years? And that's what
Mhm.
I was keeping in the back of my mind is you have like the intangibles, is you have the want to, you have the worth ethic and all that stuff. If he has those and I know what our program brings, I think it just helps me take kids that I know will develop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So can you share a moment in your career, in your coaching career, that was extremely rewarding? Like, man, this finally paid off. Like, I'm glad that all my hard work has finally paid off. Like, a special moment. Was it a certain job that you got, a certain game that you won, a certain bowl?
I think that's the things that I try to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I don't want to ever promote complacency,
I got
right? Like I don't.
yes, sir.
I mean, like I don't. Man, like nah, I don't. I don't. I just want more. And I expect more from myself. Um, I think the biggest accomplishment that I want to have as an O line coach is to win the Joe Moore Award. The Joe Moore is like the one they get of the best O line, and I haven't accomplished that. So I don't think I've done nothing. I think the individual accolades are cool and the draft picks are cool, but that's not a reflection of like your O line. You know what I'm saying? That's an individual deal. Like our tackles, like we had the second and first team all SEC tackle last year. I don't mean nothing. We went 8-5. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So stuff like that right, wrong, or indifferent. Like in my mind, I just don't haven't accomplished anything, and I want to be the best. Like I want to be the best. Like and I don't like. I'm working. I'm locked in. I'm just constantly just up there now, trying to find ways to improve. And I'm a grind my ass off until like January. I don't come up here until like January. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Just because it ain't good enough.
Yes,
And
sir.
people can say, "Oh, I'm doing that." It ain't good enough. It's like my personal standard for myself and my kids. It's never. I'm chasing perfection, and that's obviously never going to be attainable. But shit, I'm gonna shoot for it every day.
Yes,
I
sir.
just am.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird, but that's who I am.
Yes, sir. So we're going into the last segment. So we'll be speaking about advice and career guidance. What would be some advice you would give to a student or even like an athlete? Like you mentioned, all athletes won't make it to the NFL, but what would be some advice that you would give to a student or an athlete that is trying to get into coaching?
Man, I would just be a student of the game, just continuously learn, continuously you know, seek advice and ask questions. No questions a dumb question. If you
Yes,
don't know,
sir.
ask. I think like individually and just from a societal deal, like, don't get caught up in like social media, like run your race. Like
Mhm.
everybody's like, well, this is instant gratification. This should happen. This should do this. Like, no, there's a process. There's some sacrifice that has to take place. And you just got to be willing to stay the course. And I think ultimately it's just like having confidence in yourself. You would be surprised the amount of players that we have that don't believe in themselves. If you don't believe in yourself, ain't nobody gonna believe in you.
That's
And
crazy. That they could-
ultimately for me, it's just like you're whether it's a facade, it's fake or not, like your confidence comes from your preparation. So what are you willing to sacrifice? But what are you willing to do differently? I think everybody gets so caught up in like, hey, they do it this way, do it that way. Like, be different.
Sure.
And that's what like I force that amongst my players. Like they say, "Oh, we do so much stuff, but I don't care. I know what we're trying to accomplish on Saturdays."
Yes, sir.
And if you're willing to conform, you'll have an opportunity to reach your goal, which is to play on Sundays, and we will win games together. But yeah, I think that those would be the things: is having confidence in yourself, but ultimately, like not low ego, like high output, like be willing to learn, be willing to be corrected, but just continuously like soak up knowledge. Like even myself right now, like I watch like NFL games, like I watch the damn Seahawks. They run the Super Bowl. They run a lot of outside zone. Anything that can help you like improve who you are individually, that you can pour into your players, like does you no good not to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what entry level like roles or experience would you recommend someone to get their foot in the door?
Um, you know, I think that's probably the cool thing about our head coach. Like he didn't play college football.
Wow.
Um, but it's being willing to be a volunteer, a student assistant, go be a graduate assistant. I mean, like now it's like so many tiers.
Hmm.
Be a graduate assistant and then become an analyst, and then an analyst become a position coach. That's what I took from Ruff. It's like prepare for the job that you want. So even when I was a GA, like I was constantly trying to carry myself as if I was a position coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And dress for the job that you want. I think that's kind of the cliche saying of it. But yeah, just don't think you're too good to go get coffee. Like, hey, I done got so much coffee, like for Coach Leach. Don't think you're too good to go let, a coach's dog out because, once again, it's about networking. That's how I got hired with Ruff. I mean, I was an O-line coach, like a Division I O-line coach at 24, just
Hmm.
because he believed in me and we spent time together and he didn't even coach me. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? So like it's stuff like that, but that goes a long way. But he knew I'd work my butt off and put my head down and shut up and all those things. But you just don't think you're too good. I think that's the problem. Like kids now, like, and I've got former players right now that are in really good positions, and then they're like, well, you know, I'm not willing to go coach at an HBCU and have my own room, which looks better on your resume. Just staying where you are, because it's just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just be willing to listen to people. I mean, like I think I'm 42. I'll be 43 this year. I've been your age. You ain't never been mine. So when you have somebody that's trying to help you, like, listen, I
Yes,
ain't
sir.
gonna lead you wrong.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Looking back. Looking back on your career, your coaching career, is there?
Yeah. Say that again.
I think we broke up. Looking back on your coaching career, is there anything that you would have done differently?
And I think, obviously God don't make no mistakes,
Yes, sir.
right? And I think these last few years, like my faith is like really truly improved, and you just have to truly, truly have faith and believe that. Like, me getting fired from Houston, I was like, man, I did not understand it. We were winning, or I've had draft picks there, all those things, but I needed it. I needed a reset. You know what I'm saying? And just not questioning God, and everything happens how it's supposed to, and your steps have already been ordered. So I don't like. If anything, just work harder. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But nah, I don't have any regrets, and just keep going, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, my last question for you. We're done with all the segments. Um, as to your outside life doesn't apply to when you're coaching, but to your outside life.
Um, Ask it one more time. You broke up.
What's one lesson that football has taught you that applies to your outside life?
I think the one deal is, it's just like how you handle adversity. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like, I think life's gonna present a lot of things to you, a lot of challenges. And that's why the cool thing about being a coach is just like seeing those kids. They're like, man, one guy was like, hey, my boss is like an ass to me, talks reckless. He's like, well, ain't nobody talk worse than me than you did. So just being able to like instill those, you know, deals in my players, but just your work ethic, right? Like,
yes, sir.
football's taught me that. It's taken me a lot of places I never would have went on my own, but it's also, prepared me for, uh, any type of adversity. It ain't always gonna be good. Life ain't always gonna be good. Hell, you know that already right now.
Yeah,
At your age, right? So, just always, knowing it could be worse. I think just perspective. But hell, ultimately you get what you work for. You want different results, like work harder.
yes, sir.
You want different, I don't know, same deal, different circumstances. Yeah, you ultimately control that and you change that. It's like in football, like your one on ones, your individual blocks and all that stuff. Only person controls that is you.
Yep,
So I
yep.
think that's what football really teaches players, or at least the O line. And then like O line is a thankless position. People don't understand how important an O line is until the shit's not working. You know what I mean? I call it like an air conditioner.
Yeah,
Nobody cares until it don't work. Till everybody's hot and uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So
that's the
like,
industry that I'm in.
and you don't have you're like you're not seeking you're not seeking the validation. You're just gonna do your job, put your head down and work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't seeking you ain't getting no pat on the backs. They not putting you in the paper. Like, none of that stuff matters. You ain't gonna be on social media. Damn, their left guard's really good. Like, nobody cares about that. So you're like the unsung hero, but a team success solely lies in an offensive line.
Yes, sir.
And the teams that are successful, they have usually really good offensive lines.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but I don't like doing interviews. I don't like none of that stuff. Just do my job. That's how I
Yes,
like
sir.
my life to be. I don't like
To
any of
be in the
that extra
limelight.
stuff. I don't like none of that, because ultimately when you're in the limelight, where my position is, because they think
Something
y'all
bad
suck.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Or
some
something
bad
bad
stuff.
happened.
I
That's
gave up
scary.
4 sacks. So, don't talk, good or bad, don't talk to me at all. Like, I'm just going to do my job, work harder, put my head down, whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, thank you. Thank you for this interview,
You
man.
already know. You should get an A. Whoever
Oh
watches
yeah.
this.
The time was 45 minutes. I'm looking at my phone
Um,
right now. We've been up here for 48. So I definitely exceeded the time, and thank you for the knowledge that you gave and
all
just
right.
explaining everything. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure. You know you my guy. Well, hit
Sir.
me up if you need me.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Be safe.
All right, brother.
All right. Later.
See the whole interview, watch.